Hello everyone, this is Professor Archana Egbote, ILOC Coordinator from Department of Information Technology. I welcome you all for the counseling session of choosing Institute Level Optional Course 2 for the semester 8. In this session, you will get a brief introduction about the optional courses offered by the Institute. After listening to this video, you will be able to choose proper course depending upon your interest and future scope. Regarding the teaching scheme of ILOC, for this there are 3 theory lectures and no practicals and tutorials, so the credits assigned are 3. Now regarding the examination scheme, for ILOC, internal assessment will be of 20 marks and end sem exam will be of 80 marks. University of Mumbai is offering 9 courses. First is project management, second finance management, third entrepreneurship development and management, fourth human resource management, fifth professional ethics and corporate social responsibility, sixth research methodology, seventh IPR and patenting, eighth digital business management, and ninth environment management. Now, what is the criteria for allotment of ILOC? So, first one is at least 20 students should opt for ILOC. Then only that particular ILOC will be offered. And second, it depends on the availability of the expertise in the institute. Our institute is offering 4 courses. First one is project management. Second, professional ethics and corporate social responsibility. Third one is research methodology, and fourth is environment management. So we will see each of these courses one by one. A brief overview of the subject will be given to you by the subject expert.
Good morning, guys. See, today this video is to give you bit of orientation, sort of orientation about the institute level elective subject, project management. Now, what this project management subject is, the name itself is self-explanatory. It talks about management of a project. If you ask me, this is the most interesting subject, at least for me, and it is very useful subject in industry, in corporate. Without knowledge of this subject, nothing can happen in the industry or nothing can happen in the corporate. Other way around, without concepts of project management, without application of project management, we cannot do anything. We cannot do anything. Many of these concepts you apply in your final year project also. You apply these concepts many times in your life also. Okay, so this subject, as a subject, we're gonna learn different terms, different techniques, and different philosophies, uh, which are used, implemented in the industry for successfully completing, delivering a project. Okay, so now Mumbai University syllabus point of view, let's have a look at a few things like objective of a project. See, objective of a project management. Now, what is objective? Here, this objective talks about what we are supposed to give you all. Now, what university expects to be delivered to students out of this subject? So, these objectives, university has set 2 objectives, but while teaching, while delivering this subject, we modularize or granularize these objectives into 4. for better delivery of the contents. Now, first objective, according to university, is to make students familiarize or to familiarize students with the use of structured methodology or structured approach for each and every unique project undertaken. Not necessarily unique project, but each and every project which is undertaken, including utilization of project management concepts, tools, and techniques. But obvious. Second, to appraise students with the project management life cycle and make them knowledgeable about various phases from the project initiation through closure. See, over the period, you will come to know what is initiation of a project and what is closure of a project. So initiation is the first phase from where your project begins, and closure is the stage or the phase where you create a deliverable and deliver it. Now, outcomes at the end of this subject, what you people should be able to do on your own, what you people should have learned. Okay, so you must be able to apply selection criteria to select appropriate project. Okay, then you must be able to create work breakdown structure. What work breakdown structure you will come to know in detail in some module of the course. Then identify opportunities and threats. Every project has got some opportunities, some threats, some plus, some minuses. Okay, so how to deal with them? How to identify those threats and what opportunities in the project and how to deal with them. Then there are some techniques for prediction of the project success, then to find out development of the project. So these techniques you must be able to understand, like on value technique and so many other. Okay. Now the first model of this subject talks about project management fundamentals. Now what fundamentals are? So you are supposed to understand role of the project manager, entities involved in the project, what exactly project is. Okay, basics of project management, definition of project. So these are the definitions proposed by different project management philosophers or project management researchers. Okay, so you need to understand what exactly project is, how to define your project, how to define its scope, and then some constraints of the project. Okay, so likewise you need to understand this. What is project, what is operation, what is the difference between them, necessity of project management, triple constraint. These are the concepts which are there in the subject, so you need to understand them. Then there is a institute called as Project Management Institute, actually, which lays guidelines for project management enthusiasts or corporates which are dealing with projects for the successful completion or for approaching a project properly for its success. So this PMI, that Project Management Institutes, lays the fundamentals and guidelines, so which we are supposed to learn. Now, next module is about initiation of a project. Okay, here we are going to, or you are going to learn managerial approach, how to get a project started, selecting project strategically, project selection models, project portfolio, many other things. Okay, selection of your team, and selection of resources. Okay, then some numerical models and non-numerical models, which talks about or which are used for selection of the projects. Okay, then PMI based project sponsors and creating project charter techniques. PMI based, why PMI based? This institute has suggested those techniques. How to create a charter. Charter is something which talks about the uh, which gives guidelines for a particular which acts as a guideline for a particular project or development of a project, which you are supposed to create in the very beginning and you are supposed to follow it. Okay, so project charter talks about many things related to project, and proper project charter designing is very important for the success of a project. Okay, now managerial approach. Just now I told about the team management, how to select people, how to select resources. Okay, so stages of team development, forming a team, delegating them responsibilities, and so many things. Okay, the third module talks about project planning and scheduling. For success of any damn activity, planning and scheduling is very important, that you know. Okay, even while preparing for your exams, you plan, you make a schedule. 2 days for this subject, 2 days for this subject, 3 days for this subject. 90% you don't follow that, just for the sake of your satisfaction you create it, I know. But if you strictly stick to your your planning or scheduling of any activity, it guarantees success. So that project planning and scheduling, we're going to understand, we're going to learn in module 3. So different techniques proposed by these philosophers as well as PMI for planning and scheduling. Work breakdown structure is one of the very important step or very important activity in the success of any project. Okay, which is sometimes very simple, but project, granular project, and dividing your project work into modules, delegating responsibilities, so that you can do those activities or execute those models or work on those models parallelly, so that development will be faster. So this all things which are related to breaking of a project into small models comes under work breakdown structure. Very interesting and very important phase or a technique for the success of a project. In industries, much more emphasis is given to this. Then comes your networking and scheduling techniques, in which few techniques proposed are PERT, CPM, Gantt chart. You people must have done. You must not be aware of what you have done in your final year project, but you must have done work breakdown. Definitely, you must have created a timeline schedule. Okay, this Gantt chart. This point, those who are from computers, IT, or those of people who have studied operating system subject, you must have come across this Gantt chart, which is a timeline chart for some activities. Okay, so in project success, project development process, this is important. So while studying, I'll explain you that in detail and how is it so important industry point of view. Fourth is planning a project. Now what is planning a project? We have already seen project planning and all. This talks about something different. This planning means something different. This talks about what you are supposed to. This talks about planning of activities or planning of small activities which may occur during project execution, okay, or during project process, which talks about crashing of a project, which talks about resource allocation, availability or unavailability of resources, okay, and many things. This talks about project stakeholders. Now, what is project stakeholders? So any kind of entity which is involved in that particular project, directly or indirectly, is considered as project stakeholder. So without considering project stakeholders very seriously, project success is not possible. These project stakeholders can be they can be government agencies which are directly or indirectly involved in your project. They can be workers involved in your project. They can be management involved in your project. They can be investors involved in project. All these are the stakeholders. So how to deal with stakeholders, how to communicate with them, what sort of consents must be taken from them for the execution of project, everything we gonna understand in this module. Okay, then there is management. Every project has got some plus minus, some risk. Some risk are can be defined or pre-predict. They can be predicted. Some cannot be predicted. So considering all these risks and devising plans for dealing with those risks without harming or which, in such a way that those risks will not harm a project process is very important activity, is very important task, is very important phase, which and those strategies which are proposed by people, we're gonna learn it. Without risk management, because every process has got some or the other risk involved. Risk can be of any sort, okay, depending upon your project. So you have to consider that. You have to pre-plan for it, so that we're gonna understand in this phase, this module. Then execution of a project. Now execution, as you know, once you define a project, once you plan for a project, when you schedule for a project, it goes for execution. Okay, when you create a team, do a breakdown structure, and then it finally goes for execution. In execution, you need to monitor that project as well, otherwise it may go weird. Okay, it may cause problem. So that project execution must be properly monitored. Whatever reporting you need to create, whatever inputs during execution, whatever inputs you want from the stakeholders, whatever you need to communicate or pass on to stakeholders, team management, communicating with your team, then continuous meetings of all kind of stakeholders. All these things involve in monitoring a project. Okay, then you need to check whether your project execution is going according to your schedule or not. In your schedule, for example, in your Gantt chart, if you have put some milestones to be achieved periodically or at particular time, you need to monitor and check whether they are achieved or not. Okay, if they are not achieved in time, or if they are not achievable, you need to take some action. You need to devise some solutions to get them achieved. Okay, then whatever resources you need, whatever manpower, human resource you need, whatever material you need, how to procure that, how to recruit, how to contract with them, what sort of development you are supposed to do in-house, what sort of thing you need to outsource. You need to take care of all those activities in execution phase. Now, last module which you're going to cover in the syllabus is project leadership ethics, since it talks about both the things, project leadership and ethics, and closing of the project. Both are important, so I haven't given a particular name to this module. So project leadership and ethics, you need to understand it. Okay, if you don't have leadership qualities, as well as if you don't have ethics are not just like social ethics. Ethics are, there are something called as project management or project leadership ethics, which you need to understand. Okay, if you don't follow, if you don't stick to those ethics, the project success will be affected. Okay, now very important stage is closing of a project. After completion of project, how to close project activities and how to deliver it. At the end of the project, you need to create lot many reports. If your project is contracted with some company, or a project is assigned to you by some company, so that contract closure also occurs at this point. Terms and conditions which you set in the beginning in the contract, those must be tested, checked whether they are fulfilled, satisfied, and the way of delivering the deliverable must be taken care of in this project closing module or step or phase. Okay, so this way, right from the beginning of the project to the end of the project, right from selection of a project to the final delivery of a project, is studied briefly in this subject. Very important subject, very interesting subject, and even exam point of view, since it is theoretical, is scoring subject. You can score well in this subject. Okay, if you have any doubt, since it is not interactive session, it is just a video, I cannot ask for doubts and solve them on the spot. But if you have any doubts, you can freely contact me. I'll try to satisfy you and clear your doubts. But really very interesting subject and good even exam point of view. So thank you very much.
Hello all, myself Professor Sanket Patil, and I am here to give you the orientation about professional ethics and corporate social responsibility. As the name suggests, the subject is divided in two parts. First three modules divided with the professional ethics, and the other three modules is divided for the corporate social responsibility. The major course objective of this subject is to understand professional ethics in business and to recognize corporate social responsibility. And the course after you learning this subject will be to understand the rights and duties of the business, distinguish different aspects of corporate social responsibility, as well as demonstrate professional ethics and the legal aspects of corporate social responsibility. So these are the major points, what we expect and what are the course outcome of this subject. So as I suggested, there are six modules for this subject. First three modules are related to the professional ethics, and another three modules are related to the CSR, called as a corporate social responsibility. We'll see a module wise. First module covers with the professional. This is model and professional ethics and business. This is related to introduction. What are the ethical issues? What are the benefits? What are the right and duties of the business? As we suggest, this is the first course outcome of this subject. The another model is called as a professional ethics in marketplace. That means this is the professional ethics related with the environment, related to the public policies. The another model, the professional ethics of consumer protection, and as well professional ethics related to the job description. The model for here we starts with the corporate social responsibility. In this subject, in this model, what is social responsibility, what is corporate social responsibility, what are the criticism, what is the nature of business, what are the trajectory, these all are points are covered in this model. Model 5 is again the corporate, related to the corporate social responsibility. In this model these are covered with what are the corporate social responsibility related to the small and medium scale industries, as well as the public private partnerships. The model 6 covers with the corporate social responsibility in globalizing India. This chapter covers what are the government initiation, what are the legal aspects of corporate social responsibility, what are the corporate affairs, Ministry of Corporate Affairs related to the guidelines, These are all points are covered in module number 6. And this is done with our syllabus. In terms of exam, there are internal assessment of 20 marks and the end semester theory marks, it's 80 marks. Thank you.
Hello everyone, we are here for the counseling of Institute Level Optional Course 2 that is offered in that semester. As per the policy of BSET Vasai, the Institute Level Optional courses are offered across the departments. The aim of offering Institute Level elective courses, they are often called as Institute Level elective courses, is that a person from one department can take subjects which are common in nature, which are useful in their long life learning or applicable as a common subject or emerging areas may not be related to their own department. So you must have been seen various subjects. The subject we are presenting here is ILOC H026, that is research methodology. So I will give you the details in the of the subject and the importance of the subject and various aspects of this particular elective in the subsequent slide. Thank you. Hello everyone. This slide shows the credits, teaching and the examination scheme of the ILOC, which is same as other ILOCs. You can see here the teaching scheme involves 3 theory lectures per week and the credits assigned are 3. And the examination scheme will be 2 internal tests of 20 marks each, and the average of that will be counted as your internal assessment, and there will be one end semester exam of 80. So total examination or the weightage in the final year 8th semester is 100. Just see there is no term book, there is no practical oral. Now we'll understand the course objective and outcomes of the subject research methodology. So we having an objective after teaching the subject that you should understand the research and research processes. By going to the background of this research methodology subject, it is important for students who are actually for all the students, because you learn about the methodology of a research. So what is research? So that definitions will come and the objectives will be clearly defined. So research is needed not only in the scientific area, but it is also need of any subject, any field nowadays. Let it be go in marketing, or let it go in some other data science or some other problem solving or the project management. A good research and a proper research project and conclusions and the outcome of the research, the definition of the research, they are all very important aspects of a particular project or a particular area. So wherever you'll go, you'll come across directly or indirectly a research type of thing, and that's why you should know what is the exit methodology, the textbook methodology for doing a proper research. So the objective, once again, you will be understanding the research and research processes, and by teaching this you will be acquainting yourself with identifying problems for research and develop research strategy. You have to identify the problems and then develop the strategies of how to go systematically for that particular research or problem, research on the identified problem. Then also you will be familiarized with the techniques of data collection, how to do this data collection scientifically, effectively. Then after the data collection, how to do the analysis of data with more good efficiency, better outcome, and how to interpret data so that the people will understand or you will understand and have a proper conclusion. After learning the subject, you will be able to prepare a preliminary research design for projects in their subject matter areas. Means by learning this thing, you will be doing a research design for your projects. So this may be case studies, and you will be learning a particular research design for your projects as a case study. Then you will be able to accurately collect, analyze and report data. Means after learning this subject, the various methods will be told to you by which you will be accurately collecting, analyzing and reporting the data. And also you will be able to learn or present the complex data situations clearly. In day-to-day life or in your future life, in your career, you will be coming across a complex data or complex situation. So you have to present it systematically and clearly. So those textbook methods are there. They are having so many of practical aspects when we are doing the things, but here we learn a systematic textbook approach. And then finally you will be able to review, analyze research finding. You got something, you got some data, you analyze, you interpret, and then you have to review the data available with you, and you have to analyze that findings in a systematic way so that you can come to a conclusion. This entire subject is divided into 6 modules. The module 1 will give you the introduction and the basic research concept. The total hours allotted to is 9 hours. You may be aware that the number of questions will be corresponding to the weightage, that is the 9 hours out of all the complete 39 hours. So the first module will give the introduction of basic definitions of research, the postulates, the proposition, thesis, hypothesis, research method versus methodology. Also, we will be having some introduction of objectives of research and what is the need of research in business and social sciences. So as I had already told you, it is not only for if you are doing for a master's project or a PhD in engineering, it is there for everything. Some of you may be going for MBA or maybe doing some specialization in social sciences, which are also very popular field. So everywhere this kind of research, proper research way, methodology will be required. And what are the issues and problem in research, and you to characterize the characteristics of a research, what exactly is the characteristics of a research: systematic, valid, verifiable, empirical, critical. So like empirical and all are related to engineering. Some validity will be required. So all this will be covered as an introduction in module 1. Similarly, the module 2, which is of 7 hours, is focusing on the types of research. So there are various types of research. All research are not identical. So you'll having what is a basic research, what is applied research, that is engineering and sciences, what is a descriptive research, some kind of case study or social problems, analytical research, once again more engineering or data or marketing data available as analytical studies, empirical research, the formula based research will make some empirical conclusions, and the qualitative and quantitative approaches. So a research may be combination of this particular types, but we can still classify it as one of it or a mixture of this particular subtopics of types of research. Module 3, which is of 7 hours, this will give you insight of research design and sample design. So how to design your research, what exactly it means, what are the types of designs, and what is the significance of each design, and then the sample that you are going to collect or you to use. So you to have a very kind of a good strategy for sampling stages, how to collect the sample, various stages, what type of samples, how to design your methods, techniques, and there may be sampling errors. The type of sample that you're collecting is not going in the way you are thinking, so you have to revisit the samples, and you have to go in a particular direction. So that mainly includes this module 3, which is, I think, at the heart of any research methodology. That is how to design your research and how to design your sample, a sample available with the sample data available with you. So with the help of that only you are going to finally complete all this research. Module 4, that is of 8 hours, which will give you, as per the name of the subject, it is research methodology. It will give you the various stages in a research process. So what is the meaning of methodology? And a case study or a outline is given for a scientific research. Okay, so because this course has been taught to engineers, not the management or social sciences students, so the study will be taken in the purview of a scientific research. So these various stages, you can relate it to your day-to-day project, you can say. That is identification, selection of a research problem. So you have to do the literature review, and there are so many ways of identifying and selecting a research problem. You cannot randomly select a research problem. It should be kind of trying to give some result outcome or some relevant or we can say existing problems you want to redefine. So many ways of identification and selection of research problem. Then after identifying the problem, you have to formulate the research problem. It is not only that some problem has been identified and it is not properly formulated. So how to formulate a research problem, which will be based on review of literature. It is a motivation which is coming from the review of the literature. Then some hypothesis you will be making to in order to start your research, that you have to make some hypothesis. So how to do the formulation of hypothesis, how to formulate the research design, how to formulate or how to do the sample design. Once the sample design, you have to collect the data, to analyze the data, then you have to test the hypothesis, and whatever is the data available, you have to apply and interpret the data, and then you have to finally, the most important part is the preparation of research report. So these are the various stages suggested for a scientific research process. So this module 4 is totally dedicated to learn about the stages of research methodology. Module 5 is a small module which is having 4 hours. It is focusing on mainly on your formulating the research problem. You have to, which is the core of your research methodology. So you have to consider some factors in formulating a research problem. So as I told, whether it is relevant. Okay, so you cannot do research on anything on the earth. Okay, so if it is relevant, useful, may be useful for society as a whole, then you will be considering that problem. Then the interest in that problem, how much is the interest of the team or the group or the institute or the government or the any other organization for which you will be doing this research, and what is the data availability, current data availability, and how much you have to select the data from this. So how to make the choice of the data, and then once again the analysis of data, and then you have to generalize and interpret the analysis properly. So this is a small module which will jump to the final conclusion module. Before that, we will be properly modulating the or formulating the research problem. To end the syllabus, you have a module 6, which is also a small module of 4 hours teaching. It is half module, you can say. Here we'll focus on the outcome of the research. In the previous modules, you have seen that various stages, how to formulate a problem, how to use the data, how to validate, how to analyze the data. Now you have to conclude. So any research project, any project should have a proper conclusion. Okay, meaningful conclusion. Okay, so the outcome of the research will be the focus of this module, and how to prepare the report on conclusion reached. Means you will have a conclusion, then you have to make a report according to your conclusion. Then you have to have validity testing, the whatever results you are getting in your research or the data you are getting, you have to validate it. And also the ethical issues, whether you are using some data, whether you got permission, or this data is you may be using some method of a particular group or researcher earlier, some patents and all that you will be using. So you have to see the ethical issues related to your research. Finally, that how you use the data, and in beginning only you have to connect to the people who have done this work. You have to take some permissions from some authorities. Suppose you are doing some kind of a data available on medical issues, cancer, any other disease data, some data, to have proper permission. You should not see that some privacy is broken if you are making the data. So all these issues you have to address. And then finally, after making the conclusion, you have to suggest and recommend your outcome of your research. So the total hours are 39. For this, means approximately 40-hour module is there. So I hope that this is a new kind of approach. You must have did it in your final project, some of this, but not as a method. Something has been told to and you are doing in the structure, and now that structure is generalized, and we'll be doing some case study, and we'll be learning so many things. So let's see. But in university, at undergraduate level, sometimes it is thought that it is bit advanced, and this will be a repeat thing if you go for a master's, if you go for a PhD. Similar subjects are there when we did our doctoral. It is a compulsory subject for all of us wherever doing as a coursework before uh, our research starts. So any research starts, especially in the academic institutes, they will have this kind of credits and modules are there. So this is a very interesting subject. So make the choice as per as per our coordinator suggested, and also make your choice related to the scoring, the pattern. Now it is online offline thing also to take care. You must have experienced some papers which is done in online mode, maybe some scanned versions on section 1 objective. So keeping all these things in mind, especially in this corona pandemic situation, you have to select very carefully your institute level elective. Other things like what should be the best size and how many students should be there to offer a particular institute level elective, that will be, I think, already told by Professor Archana Bote, who is our coordinator. So I hope that you will take interest in this subject and opt for this subject. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Pooja Kadam and I am Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department of our college. Today I will be giving you a brief overview of the institute level elective Environmental Management, which is offered by Mumbai University for all the branches of engineering in the final year for semester 8. So what is environmental management? Environmental management is a dynamic and emerging concept which is concerned with monitoring the impact a business is causing on its natural surroundings. Basically, environmental management acts to safeguard nature from potentially damaging business operations, constructing a win-win situation benefiting the economy and the environment. So what are the course outcomes? Basically, course outcomes means what you as student would be able to do at the end of the course. So at the end of the course, you will be able to illustrate the significance of environment management and sustainable development. You will be able to identify global environmental concerns and hazards. You will be able to employ the concept of ecology and interdependence between ecosystem and living organisms. You will be able to utilize the knowledge of scope of environment management and corporate environment responsibility. You will be able to outline the EMS certification and ISO 14000, and you will be able to interpret environment related legislations and acts. So the syllabus of environmental management consists of 6 modules. The first module is on introduction and definition of environment management. The second is on global environmental concerns. The third is on concept of ecology. The fourth is on scope of environment management. The fifth is on ISO 14000 and EMS certification. And the sixth module is on overview of major legislations. Basically, the subject does not have practical and tutorial. It has 3 hours of theory lectures in a week. It does not have term work, oral and practical. It has internal assessment, test 1 and test 2, an average of 20 marks, and MSIM examination of 80 marks for 3 hours. So in total, the subject carries 100 marks. Importance of environmental management. The past few decades have seen growing realization that the present model of development is unsustainable. The current generation, in the process of satisfying their basic needs and enjoying a better quality of life, is going to deprive the future generations of quality of life. The increasing stress we put on resources and environmental systems such as water, land, and air cannot go on forever, especially as the world population continues to increase. There is still time to avoid the worst impacts of climate change if strong corrective actions are started without further loss of time. Today, each and every country needs to realize the gravity of this situation. As a starting point, every nation should have a policy for environmental protection and sustainable development. So, what are the role of engineers in environment management? The role of engineers in saving environments and affecting the sustainable development is very important because the engineers can use creativity, technology, and scientific knowledge to solve practical problems. Engineers should seek to minimize adverse impacts on the environment during the phases of development. Most projects require extensive environmental input. This will normally be in the form of environmental impact assessments and environmental surveys. Engineers are key facilitators in these relationships, mechanizing and optimizing the flows of valuable resources into human society and accelerating or moderating the damage done to nature. This realization has driven various attempts by engineers and other professionals to employ sustainable development in practice. Career in environment management and job profiles. If you are a naturalist and want to put efforts for the betterment of the environment, then you must consider pursuing this field of study. Specialists in one of the particular areas of environment management can start their career as environmental managers. Some of the most approachable job titles are environmental professional, environmental auditor, environmental property assessor, and environmental systems manager. There are other interdisciplinary jobs that environmental managers can get as well. Management students can also work in NGOs. There are plenty of opportunities around, but they will only rise as time passes by. The global environmental situation isn't just alarming, it is downright nerve chilling. The polar ice caps are melting, sea levels are rising, winters are hot, and summers are cold. Future prospects of environmental management jobs are undeniably good. In regards to its multidisciplinary nature, environmental management includes a diverse set of groups. For example, academics, policymakers, non-government organization workers, company employees, and civil servants. This multidisciplinary nature also means that its practice includes both you and me. Our actions, along with every other human on this planet, have some sort of environmental impact. These are few of the references which are mentioned in the syllabus of your subject. So, what exactly is environmental management? Is it a single field or discipline? Is it a process? Is it an agreed approach? Is it efforts to identify and pursue goals? Or is it environment and development problem solving? In a general sense, you could say that environmental management is the management of human impacts on the environment. Thank you so much.
Some important points regarding filling of Google Form. Google Form will be made available from 1st January 2021, 10 am onwards. Last day for filling up the form is 4th January 2021 till 11 pm. No request for filling up the form after the deadline will be entertained. You have to give 4 choices according to your preferences. Mostly, first preference will be allotted, but if there are very few students for that particular course, then next preference will be allotted. So this brings us to the end of this counseling session. Thank you very much for listening to this video. Ensure that you follow all the guidelines given to you. It is compulsory to fill this form, otherwise course will be allotted to you by the institute. Thank you very much.